Milo. Milo's going to bed.
Okay, so nobody's getting the truth from the mainstream media, folks. It's well past time to open your eyes, your ears, and your mind. Do your own research, because something isn't right here. And if you can't see that, you are not paying attention, folks.
It's the opportunity to forge for ourselves and for future generations a new world order. A world where the rule of law, not the law of the jungle, governs the conduct of nations.
So let's look at each one of these and see how we can get this down to zero. Probably one of these numbers is going to have to get pretty near to zero. Now that's back from high school algebra, but let's take a look. First, we've got population. The world today has 6.8 billion people. That's headed up to about 9 billion. Now, if we do a really great job on new vaccines, healthcare, reproductive health services, we could lower that by perhaps 10 or 15%.
The important message that we need Australians to get vaccinated as quickly as possible. In line with that, I do encourage all Australians to please go and book your vaccinations as soon as you can if you haven't already done so.
Emma, get away!
When we are successful, and we will be, we have a real chance at this new world order, an order in which a credible United Nations can use its peacekeeping role to fulfill the promise and vision of the UN's founders.
Okay, we need to stand up against this tyranny, folks. Stop giving away your freedoms and liberties, because the more you give up, the more these people will take until you have absolutely nothing left. That's their agenda. All right, I can't believe how quick these fly around, guys, but here we are again, as what Mel just said, starting another week, so yeah, wild times out there. A couple of things to just probably go over, and that is just witness statement. We couldn't get it on last week, guys. So, the update and that with Craig and Deb, but we will get that on. It will possibly be. We've got Vinny Eastwood tomorrow night. Vinny and I tried to do a show today and couldn't get it out, so he's going to come on our show tomorrow night. And then we got Craig and Deb coming up to give us an update on this witness statement. We need to push it, guys. All right, it's a great concept. Okay, so, we got Dutton out there. The modern day hero is now Zelensky. It's just unreal. There's people out there that just need to get educated. Jackie Lambie, you're another one. I saw something come past my screen on you. The word patriot hopefully is not going to be fouled up by Clive. I don't know what's going on there, guys, but we need to, have a look. I've made a phone call today. I've got to send in an email. And apparently to the United Australia Party, which is still, that's what they're using to do this new one, this Patriot thing. So we're going to see if we can't get one of them on the show, guys, and see how we go. Anyway, let's see. They said they may come on. So, all right. So Starmer, boots on the ground in Ukraine. It's just insane, and then Zelensky, I saw in an interview today saying that his mission is completed if he gets Ukraine involved, part of NATO. So you can see what's going on. They're just trying to push for World War III. And what do? We do what we're doing, guys. Keep waking people up. Trump and Australia are in a bit of a blue over tariffs and stuff, but I expect that. Just, Albo is just an absolute idiot. That's my opinion. We got the Premier claiming Western Australia renewable energy powerhouse, but leaked document shows wind and solar projects have stalled. Well, they're stalled because no one's investing in them and because they're shit. And the New World Order's failing in what it's trying to do. It's pretty simple. Kids hospitalised by flu jumps by a staggering 145%. This is a particularly severe season. Yeah, really. Well, we're going to see it here too, guys, because if you're giving kids and that flu shots and different vaccinations and stuff at schools, and we just got to make it stop. You guys out there know what's happening. Trump causing all this damage out there, former PLA, Palestinian Living Association, colonel saying, that, really, America's going down. Well, America can go down if America, lets itself go down, but I'll tell you what, I don't think I know, and I think it's going to be one hell of a fight. No new road rules, guys, banning certain cars from sale. I told you this was coming in, all right? They are pushing even harder and harder in every direction, all right? The building industry is just getting absolutely flogged, but they're going for it in all areas. Why? Because, as I keep saying, used people have done a magnificent job out there. Okay, so we've got, Dutton, calling on Trump, calling him an absolute idiot, more or less. Like, I don't know. It's the Truman Show, guys. But one thing that we got to be saying a prayer for, I think, is the people in Queensland, because it looks like they are going to get hammered. This cyclone's really ramping up. Albo is causing more trouble on land as well as he is out in the ocean by the look of it. So he's spreading it out anyway. He's certainly causing some trouble here. All these politicians are. I don't know what we're going to do about this election, guys. I really don't. But, maybe we've got a little theme. We don't know. It's we're just, whenever you're right, Caz, we're just in trouble, man. We're just in trouble.
Well, I wasn't going to announce this until they call the election. But anyway, I've decided I'm going to. All right. So, guys, this is the dilemma we're in, okay? If we vote according to Wayne Glue, when we know that the Constitution hasn't been formulated constitutionally, then we're actually in treason. Okay, well, that's a bit of a problem. If we basically his plan is we don't vote, we barbecue. But if we do that, I'm sure that they're going to get some of us off the list and basically steal our votes. Our vote is precious. And then you've got the other side, and they're saying, well, don't throw your vote away. And they're right. And both sides can argue all that they like, and they can fight it out to the end. But I've had a look at some of the numbers, and they're actually pretty interesting. With 60% of the no votes, if they can fight that out and capture those two markets, and if we adopt our own thing, which is basically, and I hope Tan Dilders is watching this. If not, I need to recruit you to get me some shirts. But we're just going to run the Bushrangers boycott. And that is very simply that we say no to basically no lab, lib, greens or teals. Okay. Yep. And so basically that's all we're going to do is basically no. And we're just going to go out hard against all of those, because all of those parties are making us all suffer, and all the people. Like, there's a reason why Australia's a land of plenty, and our people cannot even afford houses. We've got 250,000 people on the streets that can't even afford a house. And the solution, of course, is to bring in more people, because that's going to fix it. We've got a housing supply crisis because of mismanagement, government mismanagement. That's what it is. But anyway, let's.
Apart from the housing supply, look at this. I think this is it. It was just on the news in South Australia. They're going to be remotely turning off air conditioning. We tell you what they're going to do.
Yeah, because they can't afford electricity now, because they've all gone green, so that they can profit massively off it.
Yeah.
Look, here's somebody's that Lozzie B has put this together. This is Welcome to Melbourne. Send help. Crimes up in the last 7 days. 14-year-old girl stabbed. 40-year-old man and 18-year-old teen stabbed. 25-year-old victim repeatedly stabbed. Woman in a car wash slashed during machete attack. 73-year-old Keysborough man with his face and throat repeatedly slashed. 63-year-old woman escaped an African attacker. African man attempted a carjack. 77-year-old Q woman was slashed with a machete. Then there's these ones here, which is, it just goes on and on. Like, Melbourne couple, like that's the list that's the list has been put together. This is in the last. So of course, the solution that our brilliant government has is to bring in more. 1 million more. Yep, over the next 5 years. 1 million more. And then you have this situation where you actually have, there's 1 million international students. This is not counting the immigrants. This is just the international students. And there is a housing crisis and wages are stagnant, but Home Affairs are quietly running free workshops teaching foreign students how to get working visas. Not only that, but some people are actually have turned it into a business. And that is just here. It's like, this is the kind of stuff that we're dealing with here. It's basically, all right, so what this says is, so this person is based in Sweden and she said, Australia is ready for you. Move to Australia for free for Africans and Asians. No agent need apply. No tuition fee or funded. No application fee. Free application. Monthly stipend. And we'll give arrival allowance too. Flight ticket paid for. It's like they're advertising it as a scholarship, and so of course it's just a brilliant idea, And then when you look at the voting blocks of where it is now, somebody else has put this together. This is not my work, but these are the seats. And if you actually look at the voting blocks, so what's happened here is Grok identifies 13 marginal seats with high ethnic voting blocks. There are also several very marginal seats with blocks that are smaller, but still big enough to tip the balance. LNP needs to win another 19 seats. ALP wants bigger ethnic voting blocks in key seats. So, and you can see that there. So the blue is the Chinese, the green is the Indians, the red is the Muslim, and the yellow are Jewish.
Mate, how do we get this program streamed out to every MSM TV broadcast out there? You know, we just hack in one night and... Because we just need to be educated on what's going on.
Yeah, but we got bigger following than some mainstream media channels. Now, I want to show you something. Now, this is really important. So, this weekend I hit Facebook, and I usually don't hit Facebook because they censor me, and I need to keep the show going out on this channel, right? So, I posted what's really going on in the Ukraine. Now, after 24 hours, it had 70K views. It's actually up over 80 now, and 1.8K shares. So the numbers on that is for every time you shared it, you guys shared it, 41 people viewed it on average. So when you've got as big a following as we've got, and we've got 41 people having a look at our stuff, that you share out, people, guys, I'm not taking any credit for this because I actually didn't do it. I just shared it out, and you guys actually shared it out en masse to such a point where it's over 80K shares now on just one platform. I didn't share it on any others. Now, in comparison, Occupy Democrats, which do have a fairly big following, they've got an opposite thing as here where they say apologise to Zelensky and his appalling behaviour. Now they're doing a signage thing, right? They got 5.9. So our numbers can blitz them. So anyway.
Well, we know that we're getting out there, but yeah, I'd just love to see us pop up at 7 o'clock on everyone. If there's anyone out there that's smart enough to do that, you know, just pop us up at 7 o'clock, national TV, everywhere. Just bang, up comes Guru and Caz. Hello, Australia, how you going? Got some stuff to tell you. Sit right back.
All right. So, well, I think we need to get started on the news because there's heaps of news. I'm going to skip the fire ants thing, the fire ants arrest. Let's just deal with the whole Zelensky thing because we're already on that topic at the moment. All right. So this is Jeffrey Saxon. He's on the Ukraine. He explains it really succinctly.
Intention in the war, not the propaganda that's written about this. Oh, that they failed and he was going to take over Ukraine. The idea was to keep NATO, and what is NATO? It's the United States, off of Russia's border. No more, no less. When the Soviet Union ended in 1991, and an agreement was made that NATO will not move 1 inch eastward. Now, what happened after 1991, the United States decided there would be no end to eastward enlargement of NATO. And the decision was taken formally in 1994 when President Clinton signed off on NATO enlargement to the east, all the way to Ukraine and into Georgia. So the NATO enlargement, as you know, started in 1999 with Hungary, Poland, and the Czech Republic. And Russia was extremely unhappy about it, but these were countries still far from the border. So the next round of NATO enlargement came in 2004. With the three Baltic states, Romania, Bulgaria, Slovenia, and Slovakia. At this point, Russia was pretty damn upset. So as everybody recalls, in 2007, President Putin said, stop, enough. And of course, what that meant was in 2008, the United States jammed down Europe's throat enlargement of NATO to Ukraine and to Georgia. This is right up against Russia. And Russia protested because if Russia decided to have a military base on the Rio Grande or the Canadian border, not only would the United States freak out, we'd have war within about 10 minutes. And a month later, a war broke out. That gets Georgia destroyed. And starting in 2010, the U.S. put in Aegis missile systems in Poland and then in Romania. And Russia doesn't like that. In 2010, Viktor Yanukovych was elected on the platform of neutrality. Russia had no territorial interests or designs in Ukraine at all. What Russia was negotiating was a 25-year lease for Sevastopol Naval Base. That's it. Not for Crimea, not for the Donbass, nothing. In 2014, the U.S. worked actively to overthrow Yanukovych. Everybody knows the phone call by my Columbia University colleague, Victoria Nuland, and the U.S. Ambassador Peter Piot. Listen to it. It's fascinating.
I don't think Cleach should go into the government. I don't think it's necessary. I don't think it's a good idea. I think Yats is the guy who's got the economic experience, the governing experience, and, fuck the EU.
No, exactly. And I think we've got to do something to make...
You don't get better evidence. Then came Minsk, and especially Minsk II. It said there should be autonomy for the Russian-speaking regions in the east of Ukraine. It was supported unanimously by the UN Security Council. The United States and Ukraine decided it was not to be enforced. There were many thousands of deaths in the shelling by Ukraine in the Donbass. And one of the issues on the table in December 2021, January 2022, was, does the United States claim the right to put missile systems in Ukraine? And Blinken told Lavrov in January 2022, the United States reserves the right to put missile systems wherever it wants. So the war started. What was Putin's intention in the war? It was to force Zelensky to negotiate neutrality. And that happened within 7 days of the start of the invasion. Ukraine walked away unilaterally from a near agreement. Why? Because the United States told them to. The idea was that there would be Ukraine, Romania, Bulgaria, Turkey, and Georgia that would deprive Russia of any international status by blocking the Black Sea. And the American senators, who are as nasty and cynical and corrupt as imaginable, say this is wonderful expenditure of our money because no Americans are dying. It's the pure proxy war. And since the U.S. talked the negotiators away from the table, about 1 million Ukrainians have died or been severely.
So you have that. You also have now, this is even without the mass accumulation of Zelensky's wealth.
And all that being run by, and all that being run also, guys, right, by, Israel, at the top end, it's unbelievable.
Will have to send their sons and daughters exactly the same way as we are sending their sons and daughters to war, and they will have to fight. Because it's NATO that we're talking about, and they will be dying.
So you have that, and you also have the reason Trump said it. I don't want endless wars here.
Yeah. War III, which frankly it is doing, and it's doing it rapidly.
Oops, sorry.
To their next endless war in Ukraine. I want peace. They want money and they want conflict. even if it means walking us into the brink of World War III, which frankly it is doing, and it's doing it rapidly.
Now you have that, but remember Julian Assange also said this.
Because the goal is not to completely subjugate Afghanistan. The goal is to use Afghanistan to wash money out of the tax bases of the United States, out of the tax bases of European countries, through Afghanistan, and back into the hands of a transnational security elite. That is the goal, i.e. the goal is to have an endless war, not a successful war.
Endless wars, not successful wars.
We know that. Yeah.
Exactly right. Now, Alex Jones is
pushing
actually
as hard as they can for it, Caz. You know, it is unbelievable how hard they're going for it, man. Far out.
They are. And guys, this is our opportunity to wake people up. So hit social media. Basically, anything that you can do to do it is basically we need to actually wake these people up, because otherwise they're just going to, like, it's so hard for them to understand this, the ideology that sometimes we're the bad guys.
Yeah.
You know, the people never think they're the bad guys, no matter what. But sometimes we're the bad guys. We actually have to be adults about it and go, hang on a minute, no, we are not going to support these people who are just using this war as a proxy effort while they launder money through it and use it as a meat grinder for young men. Now, on that as well, I've also got the press gangs. Like, what is going on over there? Now, I do want to warn people, this is really confronting, okay? But it has to be shown, because it's horrendous. It's horrendous what they're doing to these people. You know, let me just find it first. I thought I loaded it, but obviously not. So,
trigger warning.
Yeah, no, trigger warning, guys. This is really horrible. So these guys were trying to get across the border because they didn't want to be gang pressed and taken to the front line to fight in a war that's pretty hopeless. So they were caught. This guy's being abducted.
Barbaric animals.
His mother is there trying to stop the abduction.
Ану. Вох! Що там, малий?
Чергую.
А де твій автомат?
Не дали ще, сказали в бою.
Чуєш, а то як його? Москалів їбашить будеш?
Москалів.
Ваховик!
So for all those I Stand With Ukraine people, that is exactly what you're supporting. That and worse. You won't even believe what comes out about what's been going on in the Ukraine. So,
Ukraine,
did you want to comment?
The Russia thing, paying your taxes, right? All this stuff, guys. We are just funding what they are doing. Okay, so yeah, look, again, it's just going to take a massive effort by all of us to wake everybody up, and you know, like they're just going to keep pushing, guys. As I say, they don't know how to lose. You know, we've got to teach them how to lose. I think we are doing that in certain areas, but they are a dangerous beast. All right, they are going to continue. So yeah, I don't know what to say on it, Caz. You know, it's getting worse day by day. You can see it. You know.
Well, Alex Jones has done this, and he's basically tied that and the Epstein together, the Pam Bondi thing.
As you all know, I've been giving Kash Patel, the head of the FBI, and the Attorney General Pam Bondi some time because, just like Elon Musk has said, Trump has become the captain of the ship. We voted him in there, but he's got a bunch of people that are hostile on the crew. And we know that they gave her only a limited amount of the Epstein files. She sent a letter and says she's going to do an investigation and sent the FBI into the New York offices. where they were suppressing the info and reportedly have gotten the information. So we're waiting to get that. But I saw her last night on Mark Levin, and she said, "Oh yes, we know the people doing it, and we're gonna fire them." You're gonna fire them? I've talked to the FBI whistleblower who has the main contacts in there, and they even have some of the files, okay, that the bad guys destroyed. And again, we know who destroyed it because we know who was over all the Epstein cases and the P. Diddy cases to cover them up. Maureen, the daughter of James Comey, Maureen Comey. So name Maureen Comey when you're on these shows. And I expect, not that they'll be fired, I expect them to be criminally charged for obstruction of justice, destruction of evidence. It goes on and on and on. And of course, Comey, the dad, has been covering up Epstein for over 15 years as well. So these are disgusting people, and you have the head of the office that said, dig in 3 weeks ago, don't do what Trump says. This is insubordination. This is mutiny. This is criminal activity. This is the deep state on the rocks. Meanwhile, the globalists are collapsing everywhere. The EU is collapsing all its tyranny. So now they just had a big conference today in Europe, and Keir Starmer and Macron, all of them, said they're sending peacekeepers in to fight the Russians. Those aren't peacekeepers. We've got to get out of NATO right now. I'll be on the air at 4 o'clock today, covering it all about an hour and a half. Join me at Real Alex Jones and at Infowars.com/show. But it's the globalists' only move now is to do a giant false flag and or just accelerate war with Russia. These people are holding us hostage. It's totally insane. So pray for peace. Pray for President Trump. And we got to get out of NATO right now because Starmer's like, oh, we're going to go ahead and attack Russia. Said it in the speech.
So because there was no ceasefire, which is what Trump was pressing Zelensky for, boots on the ground, peacekeepers aren't peacekeepers. They're going in as soldiers who's using word salad in order to disguise what they're up to. If one of those gets hit or injured, during an exchange, then Article 5 is invoked because they're part of NATO members. It's just, it's outrageous, the tricks that they're up to and the rubbish that they're putting on TV as news. People are going to be horrified. Australians are going to be horrified when they realise how much they have been lied to because they wouldn't put up with it. Australians would not put up with this. And the thing is that they don't know. They really just don't know.
Well, they don't know. You're dead right, Caz. And it's such a hard thing to do, with the cross propaganda, you know what I mean? It's just, we know what's going on. Those people out there are so confused, they're getting hit with one narrative and then, they try and look at the truth that we're trying to tell them, but the narrative outweighs the truth, because of how they're written it.
Well, that's the thing. And, actually, Greg, that's right. Look, here you've got this situation going on here. China briefed PNG on the warship mission, and Australia was kept in the dark. Now, I doubt very strongly whether PNG would have kept us in the dark because how much do we give them? 600 million? So now Robbie Barwick, he's actually had this take on it, which is interesting. So we might have actually got it wrong. We might have actually fallen into their trap and jumped up and down and said, oh, China, 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 because he's actually put this together.
I've got to say something about the Chinese warships off Australia's coast and the absolute hysteria in Australian politics and the media about them. We are hypocrites. We are always up in the South China Sea, in China's face, doing provocative actions alongside the Americans. In 2022, Clinton Fernandez, an Australian academic, revealed that one of our roles in those deployments is we deploy devices to help to detect and differentiate submarines from other shipping, so that if Chinese submarines try to get out of its shallow waters into deep water, we can detect that, and the US hunter-killer submarines can follow them with a view to killing them if there was ever a nuclear showdown. So what we're doing up there is not friendly. It's very provocative. Moreover, in November 2023, an Australian warship, HMAS Toowoomba, sailed through the Taiwan Strait between the island of Taiwan and China, which is not international waters. We did not give notice for that. And by contrast, everything China has done has been legal. And the kerfuffle over giving notice about the live firing exercise if you actually look at the details, seems to relate more to how dysfunctional the Australian Defence Force is than anything that the Chinese actually did themselves. So if we don't like how it feels when you have another country's warships off our coast, before we start crying like babies about it, maybe we should look in the mirror and go, well, hang on, what are we doing up there in the South China Sea? We can't say we're protecting our trade routes because our trade is with China. You don't have to protect your trade with China from China. So this has been a real test for Australia, and Australia's failed. We need an independent foreign policy, and we need a good relationship with our biggest and best trading partner.
You have to agree with a lot of what he said there. A lot of what he said.
Well, are we trying to provoke war with them? That's what I want to know.
Well, we are,
That's
because
the
we're
question I've
back in
got.
America, and that's what America wants. You know how it's playing out in the background.
The
you know,
globalists
on
want
the
that,
other
yeah.
side. Yeah, the globalists.
Yeah, the globalists of the deep state want it, not the other stuff. So anyway, but it's all very interesting. All right, look, we've got to get our flyers now, guys. I was flying by the seat of my pants tonight, so I did not actually. I hope I've got all the flyers. If I didn't, can you please send them to me again, because I had so much on this afternoon. I might have missed some. Anyway, here they are.
And the Mondays at Maggie's crew is calling for tools down. It's time to stand together. A corrupt and tyrannical government is crushing industries, stripping freedoms and silencing voices. This affects every worker and every business. New South Wales under a corrupt government. Enough is enough. We won't stay silent and we demand action. So join us every Monday at the Governor's House in Sydney at 11 a.m. Come and celebrate our freedom and support for each other, our culture, and play music at the 832 muster from the 7th to the 9th of March 2025. The location is at Rollins Plains Recreational Reserve. The address is 28 Bilberil Road, Rollins Plains, which is 40 minutes northwest of Port Macquarie. The 832 muster will be at Deniliquin, New South Wales, 28th to the 31st of March. And a reminder to contact the offices of Chris Minns, Ryan Park and Paul Scully. They are invited to come on the show Stop the Rot, Sack the Lot and have a debate with Dave. And the people from Protect Our Australian Heritage have been meeting at the Captain Cook statue in Hyde Park. They will be doing it again on Saturday the 22nd of February at 4 p.m. The hearing is now on the 7th of March. Eric Lord versus Vic Pol. It will be a 5-day hearing commencing on the 17th of March at Wodonga Courthouse. Eric is charged with assaulting a police officer that as they drove onto his property, knocking down his wife, running her over and resulting in a broken pelvis. And there will be a Freedom Barbecue at 12 noon on Saturday the 15th of March at Ewan Park Barbecue Area, Tennant Parade, Hurlston Park. And in Victoria, we have the following events. In Melbourne, gather at the Governor's every Saturday to end the tyranny. 10 a.m. every Saturday at the Governor Gates. And join the Justice of the People in Melbourne every Sunday at 4:30 p.m. for a remembrance at the Shrine of Remembrance, lest we forget. In Canberra, every day for over 1,000 days, the freedom fighters have been protesting at the Governor-General's. To join in, meet at the National Rock Garden at 10 a.m. to expose the 28, or tune in on YouTube at #expose the 28. And Dan Tilda's Designs, who offer handmade t-shirts and custom designs, have all of these at $10 for one, $15 for two, $18 for three, plus postage. So head over to Dan Tilda's Designs on Facebook and say no to the view tax. Join the protest march on Tuesday the 18th of March at 10 a.m. Meet at Surfers Paradise Beach opposite Montmartre Cafe, the corner of the Esplanade and Elkhorn Avenue. Bring placards and banners. We march to Hota Council Chambers. Daily prayer space is held on X at 3 p.m. So whatever you're facing, come along and we can lift you up in prayer. Every day, 3 p.m. on X. Melissa 146233923.
Yeah, and just watch Pam. I'm just watching the comments in during that, guys. Watch Pam Bondi, and yeah, she's calling on Cash to, do some ass kicking in there. So let's just see what happens. This is crazy to watch. It is mad.
It certainly is. All right, so now, look, let's just quickly go through this. This statement by Chris Minns is just completely and utterly outrageous. Let's have a listen to it.
The free speech laws that are in place in America, and for one very important reason, because we have developed a multicultural community where it doesn't matter what your faith or your religion is, you must live side by side with your neighbour in peace.
So
Well, you're creating it all on the street. Yeah.
You're creating it all. They're creating a whole heap of people that basically they're importing that are meant to behave badly. Not all of them. We know that we have already discussed this at length. We get a whole heap of really good immigrants that come in and they want to be Australians, okay? But they've got a whole heap here who want to create, that are not used to it, and they create a whole heap of trouble, and then they legislate against us. And then they justify, oh, well, we've just got this. No, actually, Chris Minns, let me tell you something. Freedom of speech is our divine right. And you can't legislate. Well, you can legislate against it, but the thing is,
you're welcome to come on the show and discuss it, Chris. No worries at all, mate.
That's exactly right. You got this horrible situation where this lady has been arrested in Queensland as well with this fire ant situation.
Section 336 of the Biosecurity Act allows for a reasonable excuse. This lady has a reasonable excuse.
Off the property, poisoning slabs whilst there are cattle on it.
Hey, using the old police enforcement arm again to create tyranny upon these people.
You need to go away, or you will be arrested as well.
Yeah,
we have legal
representation.
Police. Did you hear what I just said?
Obstructing the police.
What I'm saying, if you obstruct me in this arrest, you will be arrested.
So tough. Okay, pisses me off, I tell you.
How did our police end up like that? Honest God, like it's just so bad.
It's disgusting, mate. How do they sleep at night? Fucking animals.
I don't know. But you know, how is it that our government has actually managed to use them against us like this in this manner? Like, anyway, you've also got the situation where this appeared on the Sky News, and it's about the money that's all going out the wind turbines. All of the money is going offshore.
Power bills, but with that comes profit for these foreign-owned wind farms that heads offshore.
That's exactly right. So IP research has found that in 2024 alone, Australians were made to pay over $1 billion on their power bills. And of this, 689 million of that went to foreign-owned wind farm companies. Now, this is unbelievable in the midst of a cost of living crisis that Australians who are barely affording their own power bills are now being forced to line the pockets of foreign-owned corporations. It just shows how out of touch this federal government is with mainstream Australians.
Nothing going on here, but nothing going on here at all, folks. Hey, we can't feed our people. We got people on the street everywhere, but yeah, it's just all money laundering out the door. And hey, what are we going to do about it? You got witness statement out there, guys.
And while this is happening, America is getting this. So there's HR 25 to promote freedom, fairness, and economic opportunity by repealing the income tax. It's done. So the IRS and repeals the income tax. So, it's done. So, America's just going to be prosperous and we're just going to sink into a shithole because that's exactly what they want us to do.
Exactly what they're trying to do by design quickly, Caz, because we are slowly waking up. That's the problem. It is slowly waking up, all right? Very slow.
That's it. Now, there's something that's unusual that's developed about the whole Gene Hackman situation, and that was, there's a lot of unusual things, but one of the things was Randy Quaid said, I can help you out with the investigation. Randy Quaid, who had to flee to Canada, and remember, he actually put this out a few years back.
Out to destroy us personally, professionally, and financially.
This network of individuals is manipulating the banking system and the criminal justice system for the purposes of sabotaging our credit and our credibility. We are not criminals, nor are we fugitives from justice, nor are we crazy. We are simply artists and filmmakers who are being racketeered on. We believe there are to be a malignant tumor of star whackers in Hollywood. How many people do you know personally who have died suddenly and mysteriously in the past 5 years? I have personally known 8 actors, all of whom I have worked with and was close to. Heath Ledger, Chris Penn, David Carradine among them. I believe these actors were whacked, and I believe that many others, such as Britney Spears, Lindsay Lohan, and Mel Gibson, are being played to get at their money. In the meantime, many a celebrity's image and marketability is being co-opted.
So he put that a few years out. Now he and his wife Evie had to flee to Canada, and he said that the Star Whackers were stealing their property. He'd had his property stolen from him, and he even could prove it, and the FBI still wouldn't do anything about it. And he had to flee to Canada for his life with his wife. So very
the only
interesting.
good thing out of that article was that to know that David Carradine was a good bloke, kung fu.
Now we have had a win as well. I'll just bring this one in quickly, and that is this article here by the Noticer, and it's in the Northern Territory. So there's a huge win for free speech. The Northern Territory government has confirmed it will reverse controversial anti-discrimination laws that make it unlawful to offend and stop religious schools from refusing to hire people of different faith. So pushing back is what we have to do more than anything at the moment.
Yep. Exactly right, Caz. That's what it's all about at the moment. We're at that part of the game, mate, where it's just keep going. Just keep going, keep going, keep going. All right, utilising what we've got, which is heaps of criminality, guys. You know, it's everywhere.
It is everywhere. Okay, well, we're being taken out by a senior lawman from the Wiradjuri tribe, Riverbank Frank Doolan, and his poem Respect. So, Dave, if you would like to close the show, I shall hit play.
Yeah, look, just this week, guys, we just got to step it up. Each week we have to be stepping it up. Why? Because each week they're stepping it up at you. Okay, it's as simple as that. So we'll get Vinny on the show tomorrow night. We'll find out what's happening over in New Zealand, but I imagine it's coming just as hard there with them. I was talking to Pat King sort of today on a live. He's 77 days and he's back out doing interviews and he's free. So yeah, he's going to come on our show next week or something. I think he said he was right to get on over here, but in Canada he's got to be careful for 77 more days. So yeah, some good stuff to look forward to, guys. But what we've got to do is work on our country, our little area. Okay. All right. Local action, national impact. It does work. So let's make it a really good week, guys. All right. Thanks again. Good night.
Good night.
Bridges. Now listen up, you fellas. Listen up and settle down. Because there has to be some changes right here in this town. There's too much aggression. It desecrates the land. Let's build a bridge instead. Let's try to understand. We're all indigenous from somewhere on this earth. We're all connected to this tiny bit of dirt. Culture can live side by side. It only takes respect. Let's build that bridge together. It's not completed yet. Away with prejudice and gang violence. This is not the USA. There's culture in this country and an easier, better way. We can make it happen, providing there's respect. Let's build that bridge together. It's not completed yet.